So, my name is Swenson, and I work for the state of Washington, and I've been in IT operations for a long time. So, I decided to pick the topic of monitoring using PowerShell, because that's something that's very important for system admins, network admins, people who manage critical systems to keep them available all the time, to increase visibility into outages and things like that. So in my presentation, I'll talk about just different ways that I use in my organization to keep an eye on things, to monitor using PowerShell, monitoring using PowerShell. So the question is, why would you use PowerShell for monitoring? You've got Nagios, you've got What's Up Gold, you've got SolarWinds, you've got Operations Manager, you've got all these other tools. One of the reasons why I use PowerShell for monitoring is because it's easy, simple, and cheap. Creating a script, I mean, it's really easy to migrate from one server to the other. It's fairly simple. You can customize it to your specific needs. And you can pretty much script anything and do anything. So a lot of the other products out there require agents to be installed. You have to push clients to different servers, different applications, and it takes resources. So a couple of things I'm going to talk about are some examples of what I use to monitor servers, websites, Active Directory, Exchange, DNS, DHCP, Antivirus, and WSUS patching. So the first example, monitoring servers. So this, I call this one the SeeDr monitor. So with an organization, and it's a fairly basic script. So what this does is, in our organization we have about 650 servers, and it's probably every other week or so a server SeeDr fills up a space. Either IS logs, SMTP logs, application logs, data, whatever it is, which crashes the server. Applications stop responding. So what I did is, you can see frequency daily. So this is a script that runs once a day. It queries every server and shows me, this is for my test environment at home, shows me the SeeDr percent free, the smallest 20, and gigabytes free, smallest 20. So what I'll see typically is, I'll get a report in the morning, I'll say 0 gigabytes free, okay. Whatever application's on the server is probably crashed, so figure out a way to fix it. So it's a simple script, runs once a day. And so pretty much what it does is it does a get AD computer, finds every server in the domain, scrolls through the servers, and it does a ping, 1500 millisecond ping. It does a get WMI object, saves the C drive free, C drive size, percent free into an array, and it creates a CSV file called server C drive, outputs a CSV file. And by the way, all these scripts I'll be shared, so if you are interested in any of them, you can use what you want. And then it creates an email. So it imports a CSV file here. It creates an HTML email, and then it sends an email message saying, here's everything for you. So that's one example. Which this has caught all kinds of stuff that other monitoring applications have not caught. Another script that I've created is, I call it the server status page. What this script does is it dynamically queries every server in our organization in Active Directory, so there's about 650 servers. It'll send a ping to every server. If it finds it is down, it records to a file, runs 15 minutes later, so it runs once every 15 minutes. So it monitors 650 servers, and it generates output, generates a web page. So you can see, like this example, server status page. There are 5 servers in my test environment, 4 up, 1's down. If it doesn't find the server in DNS, then it puts a little asterisk next to it. So if a server's down, then on the website, it puts it in red, and then it shows the downtime. How many days, hours, and minutes the server's been down. Shows you the OS and the description of the server. So, and the script actually sends an email alert to a distribution list. On my version, I actually have the contact information in the computer count description. So this is the computer count description of every server, and it will CC the application administrators. So it dynamically monitors every server in the organization, just simple ping. and it will alert our server group and CC applications. So this is an alert that it sends. It says server down for the number of minutes. It does a little bit of troubleshooting. It does a DNS lookup, does a ping, sends the alert if the server goes down. This has got all kinds of stuff. It's the only thing you have to do on the server side is enable ping. So this has got servers blowing up in the middle of the night, servers during patching that didn't come back up. We have about 50 remote sites. If there's circuit problems, 3 or 4 or 5 sites, pop back and say, it'll show me all the servers that are down. So this is, the cool thing about this script is it's dynamic. You don't have to push a client. All the other products we have, Operations Manager, SolarWinds, WhatsUp Gold, you have to configure and say, oh, add a server. You have to push clients, push agents to servers. But this dynamic queries Active Directory. So if somebody sneaks up a server, then it automatically gets monitored instantly. So within 15 minutes. So it's really cool because it's completely dynamic. I don't have to do it. So this script has been running for about 4 years, and I haven't had to change the whole lot of it. I've upgraded and added some features and stuff. I've experimented with it too. So I've added, I had to connect to our semantic endpoint database and query like the last logon. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. And we actually have shows all the patch times of all the servers and arbors, but you can do all kinds of stuff with the script. But it's pretty basic. So what this does is it doesn't get any computer, and it says, show me every server in your organization, save it into a servers variable. And then it scrolls through the servers, and it does a ping of whatever timeout you set. So I have it set to 1500 milliseconds. It does a ping, and it says, okay, if the ping is a success, it scrolls through all the server and it determines the status of the server and it saves to a server status text file. So it ends up with a list of every server, whether it's up or down, and if it's down, it creates a timestamp, and then it has the description. So it keeps a running status local. And then it imports that server status file and creates another website. And within this, if it finds that the status is down and the server is actually down, then it generates an email. It actually sends another ping just to make sure it's still down. And within that email, it does an NS lookup. It generates some text here, and it sends an email that says server down, and it CCs a distribution list. And then it creates an HTML file, server status. So that can be on your local scripting server. You can post it out. What I do is I copy that to a web server, and then anybody in the organization can go to a website, see every single server in the organization, who manages it, the patch times, every server that's down. So another example is websites. I have a script that monitors websites, and it also creates web page output. So what this does is frequency, that's the one that runs once every 5 minutes. So it will read a CSV file, a configuration file. So in order to monitor a website, all I do is add one line to a configuration file. And every 5 minutes, so this example right here, contactjosh.com is up. The response time, it took, that's how many seconds it took to download the HTML of the page, because it downloads HTML, checks to see if it's up, and this is a specific URL. So this is an example test. It's down, hour and 43 minutes. Sends an email alert when it goes down, sends an email alert when it goes up. So it monitors, so in our organization, there's like 50 websites or so, and I monitor that with scripts and post the output here. In the configuration file, pretty much you got the website, the server, the URL. It looks for a specific keyword in the HTML for the downloads in order to monitor the website, and then it sends, you can send that to distribution list. And then if the website doesn't respond within 25 seconds, if the website doesn't respond within 25 seconds, then it'll send alerts. So that's, you can change that to whatever threshold you want. And then email alert, yes. This says, okay, do you really want to email this, yes or no? Some websites are slow and they would get alerts all the time, so I change this to no, and I just keep a running log. So what happens is, runs once every 5 minutes, checks all the websites. If it finds, okay, can't find that keyword, it sends an alert. Says, okay, contact Josh is down, checks TCP 80, finds it is closed, something happened there. It shows the website, contact Josh, the server. And this is cool because it shows the HTML code. So what happens sometimes is website will go down at 2 a.m., nobody will notice it, comes back up at 2:30 a.m. Okay, what was the actual problem? This email alert shows the HTML error code in the email alert. So I can copy that, paste it, see the exact error that happened at 2:30 in the morning. And then when it comes back up, it says, okay, contact Josh is up, port 80 is open, downtime, it was down for 9 minutes. And then it shows the HTML code that's up. And then it creates some log files too. So once every 5 minutes, it creates a response time and a timestamp. It puts -1 if it's down, and then and also it logs every single time a website goes down and how many days, hours, minutes it was down. So this is cool because some of our critical websites, I have years worth of logs on this. So I can basically graph out and show the response times every 5 minutes, 24 hours a day for like 3 years. And it's all saved in a text file. It's like a couple megabytes. So it's kind of cool. So the code with this one, so pretty much what it does is it creates a website status file that keeps a running status of all the websites. It imports a configuration file. It gets a timestamp, the day and time, and then it saves. It gets the HTML, saves it to a variable, and then if it finds that it doesn't find it, if it can't connect to the website, it waits 5 seconds, tries again just to make sure there's not a small blip, and then it gets another timestamp. So it gets a timestamp, downloads the website, gets another timestamp, and then it calculates response time. And if it doesn't have a response, it says -1. So basically, it shows you how many seconds it takes a website to respond. So if I see a website that says 25 seconds in my list, I know that it's a very slow website, but most sites don't. And then if it matches the keyword, if the website's down, then it creates a connection to TCP 80, and it generates an email, and then it sends a mail message and saying website down, it's got all the details and stuff in it. And then if the website comes back up, then it generates an email and says, send mail message, website's up. And then it creates a website status text. So it keeps a running status file of all the websites. And then it creates a website, imports a web status text file, and then creates that website so then other people can log in and see the specific status of that website. And then outputs that to website's HTML. And it calculates the days, hours, and minutes that the website was down based on the specific timestamp for when it went down. So this one, I have all kinds of scripts. I'm on our Active Directory, but I had to weed it down. But I call this one ADMon, and there's 2 pieces to it. So the first thing that you do is you copy this ADMon file to your domain controllers. You copy it in SeeDr, support scripts, or whatever you want. What this does is, the first thing it does is it scrolls through your domain controllers, and it terminates any PowerShell sessions, assuming you're not running PowerShell on your domain controllers. And then it does a WMI Win32 create process, and it runs ADMon up PS1. So it runs this script, and so this script is running as a process on all the domain controllers. And I have this one running once a day, so it regenerates a process. So it sits there, and it watches all the event logs for specific things. And if it finds something, then it sends an email to a mailbox. So for example, a user got created. So the script is running all the domain controllers, watching event logs, finds a specific event, sends an email, and then it shows you user created by myself, user created named J. Swenson by administrator, shows you the event ID, and then shows you the detail. This is the domain controller it came from. Actually, this is the computer. The computer account was deleted, so it shows you who deleted the account. So this script monitors users, computers, groups, OUs, when they're created, deleted, moved, GPOs, password resets, account logs. So it sits there, so you can sit there and have the frequencies is real time. So you can sit there, you can have an admin watch this mailbox and watch all of the real-time activity of the Active Directory, what's going on. This thing has caught all kinds of stuff. I've caught viruses, locking out accounts from different computers. I've caught people moving stuff by accident. It keeps track of all of your membership. It's caught all kinds of stuff. And it shows you who deletes. Well, one of the problems that we have with domain controllers is the logs. There's so many logs that they cycle out. So within a couple days, you don't have them anymore. So you have to either ship them off somewhere. We also have Operations Manager, and we can run reports and stuff from that. But this is just an easy, fast way of doing that. So pretty much what this does is it uses the 132 NT-log event, and it just runs forever and looks for users locked, unlocked, users created, deleted, computers created, deleted, and it sends an alert and it finds this. Groups created, deleted, members added, OUs created, deleted, object moved, user enabled, disabled, password resets, GPO created, deleted, GPO link changed. And this is comment. Some of this is commented out. It's for like troubleshooting and watching, adding additional events. But so this is an example of something that we use for Active Directory. Exchange. One of the scripts that I use for monitoring Exchange is just a simple mail flow. So typically what will happen is somebody will call and say, I sent an email and it took 4 hours. The person next to me, it took them 4 hours to get it. Exchange is down. I'm like, okay, so how do I know that they're actually mail problems? I just have a script that runs once every 5 minutes. That just sends to a mailbox that says mail full of tests and has a timestamp. And it just sits there and sends an email. So if somebody claims to have an Exchange problem, you can log into this mailbox, and I can see, typically, we've had some examples where somebody sent 400,000 messages, clogged up the queue, the emails delayed for a couple hours. So what I would see in that case is I would see that the mail full of tasks is 3 hours behind, and then I could see slowly as it catches up, and then I could tell exactly when Exchange got delayed. I could tell how long it's taking to catch up, and I could tell when it got fixed. Just from this simple little script that runs every 5 minutes. So I like this one. And just sends an email message to an email address using an SMTP relay server and just mail flow. This is an example. I call this my mailbox report. One of the reasons why I created this originally was to identify email users within a couple thousand mailboxes. So what this does is this one connects to Exchange 2010, and it queries all the mailboxes, and it shows me who has the largest mailbox. So it shows me total mailboxes, the top 5 largest mailboxes. These are fake users, by the way. The top 5 mailboxes. It'll show me if somebody fills up their mailbox, it'll show me everybody who filled up their mailbox and who's disabled. So technically, even though it's 2 or 3 people that may cause a problem in their mailbox, they're down. I mean, they're down. So it's an outage for them. So it identifies. It identifies when people fill up their mailbox. So it shows the top 5. These 2 things right here: accounts hidden from the global address list and accounts disabled. We use an email archiving solution where if somebody's hidden from the global address list or disabled, then their email doesn't archive, so I want to know about it. So it just triggers that, hey, these users aren't sending their email to archive, so that's an issue. I have company in here, so in our Exchange environment, company is something that's triggered on, which stamps the email address. So if somebody doesn't identify a company identifier, then they get some default email address that shouldn't be there. So that identifies that. A couple other things: single item recovery disabled, no mailbox policy, group mailbox not expired. We have a handful of shared mailboxes, and we want those to be expired accounts, so people don't log into a shared mailbox, surf the internet, do things. We want them to use their account. So this one creates a CSV file, a daily snapshot showing every user, the total mailbox size, what server they're on, and it kind of keeps a log of that. And this one actually does have the password in here, and it uses import to session, connects Exchange 2010. There are a bunch of variables in here for the mailbox policy, the specific OU that the user accounts are in. So you specify all those variables, and then it queries and saves, exports all the mailbox details to a file. It doesn't get mailbox statistics on each of the users that it finds. It parses out and shows the first 5 largest mailbox users, and it uses that mailbox detail CSV file that I created. And it starts generating the email as to an array. Same thing, accounts hidden from gal or exchange hide from address list equals true. This is accounts disabled. One thing about some of these scripts is over the years I've had so many scripts, and PowerShell is changing, new commandos are added, new ways of doing things have been added, and I haven't gone through and updated everything, so you might notice that. So it just scrolls through and it generates an email, then it sends an email with a mailbox report. At the end of this script, because I'm already connecting to Exchange and I want to have the least amount of scripts with passwords inside the script as possible, I also go in and that previous script with a mailflow script, I go in and say, wipe out any email out of that older than 25 days using get mailbox, search, delete content. So it deletes anything older than 25 days, wipes it out of that mailbox because I don't want 500,000 emails in a mailbox. So another script that we have is monitors DNS. So this monitors DNS A and C name records. They get added or removed. And what it does, it runs daily, and if anybody adds a DNS record, then it sends an alert, it says static DNS entry added, there it is, then it shows me a list of every DNS A and C name record that's in existence. So if we wanted to clean them up, we have old ones, it'll show every DNS and A. And this is good because somebody adds and deletes a DNS record manually. Most of DNS is automatic. Server workstation comes up, automatically registers DNS. But if somebody adds something in DNS, I want to know about it. So, what this script does is it doesn't get WMI object to DNS A and DNS C name, puts those together, and then creates a DNS monitor.csv file. So that generates a list of, and it looks for static records. So I'm only monitoring static records. So it generates a CSV file of every single static DNS A and C name record. And then, so in the variables, it pulls the one from the day before. So the script runs daily. So it pulls the one from the day before, creates a snapshot, it compares. So then it compares, does a compare object with the old and the new. And then what it does is it says, okay, so if you have DNS records added, then add to the body email, static DNS entry added, shows it. If it's removed, shows removed, and then it shows the detail. Then if alert equals, so it only alerts, it only sends an email if there's something changed. So if alert equals yes, sends an email, says here's all the DNS records added. So I can see every single DNS A and C name record that gets added statically to our DNS servers. This one is just a log of DHCP leases, a snapshot every day, and it keeps track of all the devices, IPs, MAC addresses, lease times, and DHCP server, and also reservations. I didn't have any in this example, but so it keeps a snapshot of all the DHCP leases. And one of the reasons why I started this originally is because people were plugging in devices into our network that were not company devices. So this is I've generated reports off of the output of this that shows if you have a standard naming convention, you can say, show me all the devices that don't fit the standard naming convention. I've caught people plugging in with a device named root, all kinds of personal computers. So there's different things. So because if you think about it, somebody that plugs into a network, typically 99% of the time they're going to be using DHCP. So you can grab a lease from a DHCP server, and there's a record of it, and then now I have a record of it. So anybody that plugs into the record into our network, I have a record of their MAC address, their IP, and their name. So it's a good way to just keep an eye on things. This one actually uses an older method I've had around. It actually uses DHCP CMD and just like parses out a bunch of the output. So it uses some older scripting techniques that I've got. And then it takes that and just saves it to a file, and it just creates a daily file. And same thing with reservations. So it keeps track of all the reservations and leases. This one for antivirus, this one runs once a day. And this is a fairly recent one that I created within the last couple months. And the reason why I created this one is because, in my experience, some of the biggest risks in organizations I've worked is servers not having antivirus, and not being patched. So what this does is this dynamically queries every server in an organization, and it shows me any servers that do not have antivirus installed on them. And it shows me any server with antivirus stopped. It shows me any server that's missing more than 20 patches, and any server that's been up for more than 60 days. So I call it server risk report, and it shows in the body right there, no AV4, stopped AV, patches. So if I see that somebody brings up a server, they forget to push antivirus to it, then it pops up, no AV. If I see somebody messing with antivirus and they stop antivirus because it's causing problems, I can see it stopped, and then I can see if people are patching. So this has helped make our environment more secure. So what this does is it get AD computer, queries every server in the organization, does a ping of 1500 milliseconds. If it finds, if it's successful pinging, then does a get service. And in this specific example, we use semantic antivirus. So I say, if the service is semantic antivirus or set master service, the older or newer version of semantic antivirus, then continue on and look at the status. It queries for missing patches. This actually reads the Windows Update log file on every server, whether it's in the Windows or Windows NT folder, and it parses out the number of updates missing from the Windows Update.log file. The only problem with this piece is kind of convoluted, but the only problem with this one is with SCCM. SCCM also writes the Windows Update log file. For our servers in our organization, we use WSUS for patching, so we don't use SCCM. So this works for the majority of our servers, but it'll show me, it'll query the Windows Update log and show me if there's missing patches. Then it queries servers for uptime, and this one uses 132 operating system, shows the last boot, shows the days, the uptime, and then saves to it, right? And then it generates an email. So if the servers have no antivirus, stopped antivirus, patches missing, or have been up for more than 60 days, it generates an email, then it sends out an email. And all these scripts I have running on a scripting server using scheduled tasks. They run on a daily basis. WSUS patching. One thing that we ran into is, even though WSUS is easy, approving patches, we've had situations where when Patch Tuesday comes out, we approve patches for tests, and then the following week we approve patches for production. And But if somebody makes a mistake and accidentally approves for testing and production, then you don't find out until everything is patching and rebooting at the same time. So what this script does, this actually runs on the WSUS server, and it assumes that you have 2 WSUS targets, test and production, and it shows you any updates that are not approved for the specific targets in WSUS, production and test. So what will happen is the morning before test, you'll see test 0, production 3. That shows that yes, they approved the test patches. They haven't approved production yet. Then the next week, so this runs weekly, the next week during production patching, it'll say test 0, production 0, and that shows that they approved all the patches correctly, and they're not missing patches. They didn't do test and production at different times. This one, so this one connects to the WSUS database and finds the updates. It pretty much, it stores the updates here, stores the groups here, queries through all the updates and groups and the targets, and then generates the email with the output. So that one's WSUS. Now, patching this, it used to be, after we patched, we had a very manual process where somebody logged into servers, checked things. It took them an hour, it took them days to verify all the server patching. So what I ended up doing is writing a script that runs an hour after the patch time, connects to every server, generates an email that has a list of every server, shows whether the server's up or down. It also shows if it doesn't have DNS. It shows if it's missing any patches, and it shows the uptime in days, hours, minutes. So what will happen is during our production patch time, we'll get an email that has 200 servers listed on it, or however many servers are in that patch window. It'll show any of them that are missing patches. So if they take more than an hour to patch, it'll show that, and it'll show whether or not they rebooted. And so this is kind of and this can be kicked off at any time. It's completely automated every month, so you don't really have to do anything. This one that I'm sharing is doesn't have quite as much automation. I actually have a script every patch Tuesday that creates scheduled tasks and has more automation, but it's tied. It's dependent on some of our environments. So I didn't share all of it. But
Josh, the no DNS, that's you drive this off a CSV file and then you look up the address. Is that what no DNS means?
No DNS means if somebody shuts a server down within 7 to 10 days, it'll automatically drop off a DNS, and so if it says no DNS, that server may actually be up, but not registered DNS. So it's just kind of a flag saying this server is probably been down for more than 7 to 10 days or whatever the DNS schedule is, because most servers and workstations will register in DNS and they'll like keep on registering. If you shut a device down, then within a week or so it'll disappear out of DNS. So this will show, yeah, it doesn't have DNS. That doesn't necessarily mean it's down. That just shows it's not DNS. So it's probably down. It's been down for more than a week. So if it shows no DNS, then that's maybe a sign that we need to delete the computer account. It's showing up in here. So what this script does is it queries. In this example right here, I have an OU filter saying test Sunday 4 a.m. So if you look in my OUs right here, I have test Sunday 4 a.m. So it'll query every server in that specific OU and test Sunday 4 a.m. And so what it does is it gets all the OUs with that OU filter, test Sunday 4 a.m., determines all the servers in that specific OU, then scrolls through all the servers, verifies whether or not it has DNS, pings it, gets a status. If status is success or it replies to a ping, checks the Windows Update log file and determines if it's missing any updates. The number of updates missing saves in the updates variable, and then it scrolls through and generates an email with some of this stuff. If it's down, it just says down, puts all dashes. Has no DNS, it just puts dashes. And then if it actually is up, you can connect to it, then it generates the missing number of updates, the uptime, and then sends an email message with all this. So this is kind of a way this method is I've set it up where it's completely automated. So it's we don't have to do a whole lot with this. Basically, what happens is a new server comes online, you drop it in OU, the rest is done. It automatically gets included in all the reports, everything, so it's completely automated. So this is everything. So I've got a copy of all these scripts saved on, if you go to www.contactjosh.com/PowerShell Summit, got an example. Every script that I showed here got listed and the presentation. And if anybody has any questions or if you have any ideas, you can email me scripting@josh.com. And so, any questions? Yep.
I noticed on some of your scripts where you're doing monitoring and you found out actually do remediation inside that script. So if the SeeDr is full, let's go ahead and archive a bunch of stuff. Let's go ahead and clean up. Or maybe like you're starting an ISAP pool to see a web server down. You're trying to do some help, I guess.
You could in some of these scripts actually do troubleshooting and fixing of things. The problem in our environment is we have so many servers and they all do different things. They're all managed by different people, different levels, and it's like messing with all the servers. And it's better to query. In our environment, it's better to query, but you could do all kinds of other things with that.
You run a lot of stuff off the scheduled tasks off of a script server?
Yes.
Yeah, how are you doing potential following the posts?
How am I doing what?
How do you get authentication following the posts?
So with most of these scripts, I have a central scripting server, and I actually have a script, a master script, that reads a bunch of scripts in a folder. I didn't include this one here. I just drop a script in there, and it'll run in my nightly scripts. And I use a service account that has access to all these servers, and I put the credentials inside the scheduled task. The only script that I have that has credentials in the script is the one that connects to Exchange, but majority of these use the credentials within the scheduled task.
You're running the service account, not the service account in the UK, or how do you get it on?
This is a domain admin service account, yeah. So.
I've got a nice to have on similar to your Mailflow thing. So kind of take it to the next step that we need to take it to is actually having another piece then read that email that's coming in and then interrogate it. So like if you don't see it come in within 3 minutes, generate an alert.
Yeah.
Trying to be proactive on
Oh, yeah, good idea.
being slow rather than waiting to
Yeah.
verify.
That's the kind of stuff that I like. Is I like. One of the biggest things I've got with this summit is ideas of interacting with scripts via websites, via email, different ways you can use scripts to interact and monitor things. And yeah, that's a good idea.
So a suggestion for monitoring AV, any AV installed Windows will create an instance of the Antivirus product. It's in the root security center 2 or root security center namespace. So you can query that, and then it's generic for any AV product installed.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have any other cool monitoring that they?
No, but I have a question.
Yep.
Notice that the scripts are do it for each server and then deal with each one,
Yep.
so they're not parallel. Is the script execution length, is that a problem?
The one, like the server monitoring one, for example, scrolls in our environment scrolls through about 650 servers. Takes a couple minutes to run. I would say it's probably scalable to 1,000 servers. I've thought about doing multiple processes and different things at once, but it adds a layer of complexity. In our environment, it's not really necessary. I'm trying to create scripts that are easy to read so people that are learning PowerShell can say, oh yeah, I know that, but if I create a lot of complicated stuff, I mean, it's complicated enough, but if I create more, then it's hard for people to read. So you can change it and make it more scalable to a larger environment. It's just our environment specifically doesn't need it, so I haven't done that.
And as you're looking at event logs for like AD events with users,
Yep.
consider like the account, you can put in like a locked out, disable. There's a list there too.
Search AD account for what?
Native commandment.
The search AD account commandment, and you can see like disabled user, locked out, not your expiring.
Yeah, that's some of the older coding. Some of these scripts, like, they've been around for like years, and I was looking at them like, I know a better way to do that. How much time do I want to spend rewriting all this stuff to, yeah. So,
Is it really broken or
yeah, it's like, okay, so it's not broken, it works. There's a better way to do it that takes less code, but it takes time to rewrite it, so do I really want to do that? So that's something, yeah. So some of this stuff, I mean, there are better ways to do it in some of the examples, but whatever works.
I had a couple of other questions. So you mentioned at the beginning that the stuff that you're showing us here is sort of in the context of a larger, you have sort of big picture instrumentation already implemented in the organization.
Yep.
So the first question then is the relationship between this data that you're collecting and the data that's sort of being centralized by this, I forget what you said you were using, Circonis or Nagios or whatever the one.
Other monitoring applications. We have What's Up Gold and Operations Manager and SolarWinds. We have all kinds of other monitoring applications.
Okay. So in terms of the data, like you have a lot of data in files and they have a lot of data somewhere else. Is there any effort to sort of consolidate that data somehow? That's enough. Okay, so the next question. So the next question is, your environment sounds very big. A lot of my clients aren't big, and it really, like, when you implement this type of script monitoring, is it something you're doing a priori because you anticipate a problem, or is it generally a reactive thing, like, oh crap, it happened, now let's implement the script so we can close that hole in the
Most of the time, it is reactive.
Okay. That makes me feel a lot better, actually.
Because, well, it's like a server's down. How do you keep this from happening again? Why didn't we know about it? Well, the C drive filled up. Everything stops working. Whatever monitoring application on there probably could have stopped working too. So I created something. Most of these, there's a reason why they were created originally. Mostly because of different outages or different things that happen.
Oh, and sorry, one more. The recurring aspect of these scripts, what are you using to drive that?
Scheduled tasks. Yeah. So I had it in the past. I've had it more spread out. I ended up centralizing everything to a scripting server and tried to make it yeah. So using scheduled tasks and stuff.
Thanks.
So at the part at the beginning where you were doing the ping, reply, and it was every 15 minutes and 5 minutes for different monitoring scenarios, it's not going to be accurate to the time that it was actually down because of the spacing of the time that it actually runs.
So like the server monitoring one, for example, is when I first start scripting this, I'm like, I want to know instantly when every server's down. And so I had to run like every couple minutes, and had to check everything all the time, and there were so many alerts. So one of the problems with monitoring is you get too many alerts. Mm-hmm. Like VMware, I'll get 1,000 emails on it. I don't want to be on the distribution list. It's a different product. You just get too many alerts. And so I've had it locked down, or I knew exactly when stuff was, but there were so many alerts that it's not, I don't care. If somebody copies an ISO image over a T1 to some remote site and brings it down for like 5 minutes and slows down the connection, I don't really care. But if it's down for 15 minutes, in this example for the servers, if it's down for 15 minutes, then I care about it. I mean, that was kind of the threshold that I came up with. The most important thing, I mean, the original reason why I created the server monitoring one was because we have so many servers, so many different groups that mess with servers. And within Active Directory, like an AD admin, how are they supposed to know when servers go down if nobody tells them? Trying to keep things clean. And it ended up being, hey, we know when things are going up and down and alerting, and then expanding on that, and then our group knew when all the servers went down, and other people wanted to know, so then we had a CC application administrators, and so it just kind of built from that. But one of the problems that I've run into with monitoring is it creates a lot more visibility, which is good, but it can also be bad, because if I know every single blip of every server and every website, and then I CC people, they're like, hey, why did my website go down for 10 minutes? I mean, it generates a lot more work, but it's like we really want to know about all that stuff. So I want to know what stuff. I've had people, the server monitoring one, for example, is completely dynamic. I've had people send me emails saying, can you remove me from that monitoring? I'm like, okay. So they were messing with something, brought a server down, sent an alert, everybody knew about it, and they're like, oh yeah, can you remove me from that? Like, no, we want to know when servers go down. The idea with servers are to, I mean, my assumption is all servers are critical, they should be up all the time. If somebody's bringing a server down or messing with a server, we want to know about it, and we want an alert. So, yeah.
There's a story about the Target data breach. Apparently they had installed some good security software, and it was telling them they had this malware on their systems, but they were so used to just ignoring the stream of alerts that it just went on, and there's like, you have problems, you have problems, you have problems, and they just ignored it. So sometimes less is more, finding that right balance between like accurate and actionable.
Yeah. And
sometimes very accurate is not actionable.
Yeah. And one thing I like about with using PowerShell for monitoring, I can tell, just send me one alert. I mean, you can customize specific. I don't want to get an alert unless there's actually a problem. Like to flood my mailbox with 1,000 messages doesn't do me any good.
How do you guys handle like maintenance windows or situations where you know servers are going to go down? Is it accepting you're going to get a bunch of alerts? Or?
With the server monitoring one, that's one of the reasons why I have it 15 minutes. I mean, most of the time servers patch reboot, they do it within 15 minutes. So I don't necessarily need a maintenance window for that one. With the website monitoring one that runs every 5 minutes, I do not have, I actually get alerts that say website's down, I can see this getting patched, so I don't have anything. I mean, I could program maintenance windows in there, but.
One of the things that we do that might be an improvement on your server monitoring is when the server is down, you start pinging the switches around it. Because in our environment, we're often not the reason the server is down, because the network is down. So we need to get a hold of the network guys.
Yep.
You call the server guys and they're not really happy, and the problem is the network.
So the server down one will check 1,500 milliseconds. So let's say somebody's clogging up the bandwidth, a remote site, and the round trip time is like 2,000 milliseconds, and it's for more than 15 minutes. This script will send alerts, server down, but it'll show you that it's like 2,000 milliseconds. You'll know, okay, well, it's not necessarily down. It's just that the bandwidth is getting clogged up or whatever it is. But I've thought about that. My only hesitation with that is we have like 900 subnets, 300 switches. Like trying to log and keep track of all that is kind of a pain. But I have thought about all that. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you.